everybody. We're live here with a great mental performance expert and my friend Nathan de Veer. If you don't know about Nathan, you can definitely check out my podcast with him, episode 174. But we're obviously going to learn a lot about his expertise today in the mental game arena, which it was amazing how many questions, how many answers we got to the question that we sent out in my newsletter from you all. So we have a ton of questions to go through, but I'm going to talk about my experience with Nathan during a coaching session that honestly was really eye-opening and potentially like life-changing. So it's really exciting to have Nathan on here. Just to tell you a little bit about him, he is obviously, as I mentioned, a mental performance expert who specializes in helping players and athletes master their mind with proven mindset strategies. He played D1 tennis at DePaul University. Don't forget that. And he is currently based in Amsterdam, Netherlands. And so he does a lot of great work. He's on IG. Also, we'll share his website as well. What's your exact website again, Nathan?
NathanDeVeer.com.
Right. Perfect. So, yeah. Awesome. So, yeah, really a pleasure to have you on, Nathan. And the mental game is just really something that a lot of us don't really train. You know, we train the forehands, the backhands, the serves. We even go to the gym, some of us, but then we don't really take the time to, work on the mental side. So, what are your thoughts on that and just generally speaking with the mental game?
Yes, it's a topic that is becoming more popular, which is great to see. And even for beginner levels, or if you look at the best players in the world, it's nice to see that more people are opening up about their challenges and sharing that it's not always easy because on the tennis court you're out there against yourself in a way as well, and it is a part that I used to struggle with a lot. That started my journey to learn more about this, and it has given me a lot for myself as a tennis player, as a person, and now being able to help others with this is my passion, something I love to do, and it's interesting to see that mental training itself is also evolving. So it's interesting to see that, and I'm sure we'll dive into this as well, that certain like rituals and things or positive thinking may help. But there are more effective ways, I believe, from experience, that can really make a shift and a transformation for tennis players. So yes.
Yeah, no, great stuff, Nathan. I want to go through just some of our coaching session. We talked for an hour a few days ago. You really kind of, offer that to me. And we talked about a lot of things. I do want to bring this diagram up to the screen too. I don't know if you all can see that. I don't know if it's going to focus, but
I'm not, it's focusing right now. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can. So, I hope the people online can see it too.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Just kind of, I had to take a photo, talking about how, everyone has, a potential. And then unfortunately, there's a lot of like mindsets where why it's the P minus the M, right? And, different negative mindsets that kind of take away from that. And, and we talked a bit about, the goals that I want to accomplish for the future and, the ideal lifestyle. So we went through that, and that was really fun thinking about that. Just starts getting you excited. And then, we talked about, some roadblocks. Everyone has, mindsets that are detracting from their true potential. For me, I was, just to be frank, I love my audience, right? But, there's certain content that I wanted to create, and, there were some things holding me back from it. And, part of that was just thinking about, maybe the judgments coming from, my audience as to like, if they think that, this content won't be any good, things like that. But Nathan helped me to realize that, and maybe you can explain it better, Nathan, but that, these judgments that are coming from people, like some people have a positive judgment of you, others will have a negative judgment of you. And that doesn't really reflect on you and your potential and capabilities. It's more of like, it's kind of their, I guess, problem is how we kind of said it, So I just something big to remember, whenever you're trying to go for something, is to just not really care, what people think in that sense. Obviously, you take feedback and whatnot, but the observation, we separated observations from judgments. And so the observations, correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, are more of like a factual sort of thing that that they're doing. This observing, like saying, okay, like I think that this is X, this is Y. But versus the judgment where like it's like, oh, like mehrban's serve video sucks, or like his serve video is awesome. And those things you just say, okay, it's their issue, like their judgment. It doesn't detract from me. So that was a really insightful video or session that we had. And we talked about, even forming a different version of myself, like calling me, like action taker, so that was really cool too. And I know we have a lot of questions to go through, but any other, I don't know, thoughts on that session, Nathan?
So many things to dive into. So many ideas come up, but first of all, I acknowledge just your openness and vulnerability here, because even for myself as well, I have my own challenges as well. Even though I've been doing this work for so long, helping hundreds of tennis players from all over, it's a continuous process. And with the picture that you shared, I love to make it really clear for people how the mind works, because once you have an understanding how it works, it becomes really clear and you feel more confident in your ability. Oh, here is where I get off track, for instance. Yeah. So let's see if it focuses. Yeah. And when you start to become more aware how your mind works, and more specifically how you work, how your mind is wired, now it becomes more simple. And you can look at making the changes that you want. I think you did an awesome job. It was a great session, and
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, and you left me with actually you sent me a summary of what we talked about and like action steps and stuff. So yeah, it was really good. Really appreciate that. But we do have a ton of questions to go through. And before I actually talk about the questions, I do want to say that you all should really stay until the end. I highly encourage you to do that, because at the end of this session, which will probably be like around 11:50 or something like that, we will actually give away a coaching session with Nathan. So a free coaching session, which I found very valuable and insightful and groundbreaking, really. So definitely want to stick in this this fun live stream with us. So with that, obviously everybody in the live chat, which is so awesome to have you here, please feel free to give us any questions. And this is really cool. I got some friends here. Charles, what's up? Great to see you. Arash, play tennis with him a lot. We've got Byron, who I play tennis with a lot as well. We got David. So everyone say hello if you haven't yet. And I see, some of your comments on Facebook, some on YouTube. So that's really cool. I think we're on Twitter as well. Let me go to my list of questions. We got a ton here. So let's see. The first one is from John. Actually, no, let's not do that one. That was like more of a business thing. Robert, any tips that can be shared to combat choking during matches and regaining focus after an error or lost game or set?
Yes, that's a common challenge, and I love the questions, by the way, as well, because as we saw them all come through the email. And so, first of all, actually, before I dive in, it's important to have an open mind about everything I'll share. I'm not saying what I'm sharing is the truth, but the more we can be open about potentially being wrong about what we have learned about mental training or how we view ourselves and everything, the more we open up a space to have new insights come through. Like it's like a glass that is completely full. If I'm trying to pour in more insight or give any suggestions, it's not going to come through. And that starts with just being open and being willing to challenge yourself, because I want everyone here to really get something out of this as well. So going back to the question, to choke, you said, and then to come back after. Sorry, what was?
So any tips that can be shared to combat choking during matches and regaining focus after an error or lost game or set?
Sure. Yes. So in the beginning, it's important to see, where is it choking, where is it coming from, what is it that you are trying to avoid. It could be due to the fact you may don't want to lose, you may don't want to look silly, and just to be aware of that is key, because when you are not aware, you don't have a choice. Your mind is running you, and the moment you are aware, now you have a choice. Now you can shift your perspective or look at the situation in a new way, so you can feel better and you can play better. So one of the things I teach the tennis players also in my program is that developing the skill, because this is a skill, to become more aware. And to make it practical in a match, you could use your towel, let's say, to anytime when you walk to your towel, or you sit on a changeover, just to become aware. Hey, what am I focused on? What am I feeling right now? And just to become aware, and to make it practical. Usually, when you choke, the focus is more on the score, on the outside, and just to make it practical. Is to refocus on your plan. Hey, what do I want to do right now in this moment?
Awesome. Really great question and answer there. Alrighty. Thank you, Robert. So let's see, Christine, and I'll put this on the screen shortly, but my current mental challenge in matches is keeping up my aggressiveness through an entire match. So she might start thinking things like, can I keep it up? Do I have the energy? Can I keep it up in the face of my opponent's aggressiveness? And then she'll gradually think to, I don't know if I can keep it up, and things like that. I don't think I have the energy. So she did say it helps me to answer my own question by thinking I only have to keep it up for the next point or whatnot. But yeah, basically, what things can you do to keep up your aggressiveness during an entire match?
Yes. So one of the pitfalls that I see, that I used to do as well when I played in colleges, was what my coach was telling me, is to move more, and which kind of helped in the moment. Like, okay, you got to move more, you have to be aggressive. But what is the cost that you lack the aggressiveness? And usually it always comes back to a mental thing, or unless if you have showed it in practice before, it shows you can do it. So it's not that if that's the case, that you are not able to do it. It's okay, well, what is causing you to not be as aggressive? This is something to be aware of, like, what is it that you're trying to avoid? Maybe you don't want to make mistakes, and you are hard on yourself, and you get into a lower energy. So that is something to be aware of. In the moment, I would suggest to keep up the aggressiveness. Like in the moment, of course, it is important to have a game plan and to remind yourself of that as well, especially when it is more challenging, because then it's easy to lose your focus and get caught up in your mind when you make mistakes, or when things are not going the way you want.
Awesome. Yeah, we're just going to run through these questions. But yeah, I really like what you said about awareness a few minutes ago. I'm reading a book, as we talked about, called Awareness by Anthony de Mello. And that's just the whole thing, being aware of what's going on, what's happening. That's huge. All right. So next one from Giampiero. Sorry, I love the accent there. Managing the pre-match time. How? This is kind of like a Yoda type of question here. Managing time during the break time between games. How? So what's your thoughts on that? Very important.
Yes, very important. Yeah. There's always a combination of fundamental things, laws, I'd like to call them, just like a law of gravity. For instance, if I have something that I can drop here, like if I let this drop, my headphones, they're not going to fly away. They will always drop, always, right?
Oh, they're broken.
They're broken. The same is with the mind. Like, what are the fundamentals, the laws of the mind? And so, for instance, in between a game, when you are observant, when you are aware, that is when I'm not able to share my screen, unfortunately. Maybe for next time, if are we able to do that or not?
I think that there's a present. Isn't there a present button right there at the bottom or somewhere? Or you can send me the link if you want, but otherwise we can do it next time.
Because I would love to share also what I share with you. I think that would be very helpful for everyone who's tuning in. Share my screen. Or
Yeah.
I'm not. I guess I'm not able to type, or is there some type of a whiteboard?
Whiteboard. Yeah, I mean the thing is, if you share your screen, then it'll share the screen, and then you can like write stuff. So you should be able to do that.
Well, let's just go for it, and we'll see where we'll end up.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let me know whenever you're ready. I can just blabber a bit, but
okay. I'm not able to see it. Window, Chrome tab. Okay, we'll try it for next time.
Okay, sure.
So to continue with being aware is a great skill to practice, and meditation, I found, has been one of the most powerful ways to practice and to develop this skill, because the mind loves to think, loves to worry, and before a match, if you are able to calm the mind by just practicing your attention on, let's say, your breath, and just observing the breath on your stomach, let's say, or how it's going in and how it's going out, and being able to practice that for a longer period of time. So it's a bit of a combination of a breathing method and a focus exercise before the match. But then also, so this is a fundamental, right? As I shared, this is a law. When the mind is calm, your potential is coming out. At the same time, you want to personalize it for yourself as well. Some people love to move in between the changeovers. If you look at Rafa with his legs to keep up his intensity as well. Or listen to a song. You see many people come up with a song. So experiment with this, but the breathing method is powerful.
That's really good. Honestly, can't wait to listen to this stream again. It's just managing it, trying to get all these questions in. Can distract a bit, but yeah. So next question is from Francis. I would like to learn how to play more freely in a competitive situation, especially against weaker players. So it sounds like you feel pressure when you're playing against, players that you should beat, and you're thinking, oh, I need to win, otherwise it'll look bad, which I did a lot actually in juniors. I always was concerned about, if I lose to this person, then my friends and whoever else will think, oh, wow, why did this happen? But anyways, go for it, Nathan.
Yes. This is probably like the number one question I get also from tennis players. So very common, and many players, they struggle with this. So it's important to allow yourself and train yourself to be okay with discomfort. One of the skills that the best tennis players in the world have mastered is to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when you play against a weaker player, usually there's a tension, or I don't want to make assumptions, but this is the case for most players. So I hope this helps for other people as well. That is, it's worse when you lose against a player who is lower on the rankings, the USTA or whatever league you're playing. And that usually it goes along with feeling of disappointment, a feeling of maybe feeling inadequate, feeling a sense of shame, potentially. but the more you can allow yourself to go for it and to allow yourself to lose or to miss a shot. And also with the knowing that, like, hey, right, what's most important for you? So number one, it's about practicing the skill of going outside of your comfort zone to face the situations and be willing to give yourself the permission to potentially lose, to go for it. And also with the knowing, the more you practice this, it depends on. Sometimes I give an exercise actually for players, like, okay, I want you to lose on purpose. And of course, like, this is not in a real match usually.
Okay.
But watch what happens.
It's called tanking.
Yeah. So there's a difference between when you tank or when you allow yourself to lose, because there's still, like, you do your best, but you allow yourself to lose. And this is a subtle thing. But through experience, you will see that, like, hey, you know what? That you can do it. And that also, by learning this, because it's a skill as well, that you make more progress if that is something that you want.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. So this next one, I considered not asking it just because it's like kind of similar, but I think it's, different enough. But Andrew, would love to learn how to play relax when the match gets tight. So maybe if there's any other, details or anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it starts with your perception as well, because when the match is getting tight, that's an idea you have about the match right now. Yannick Sinner shared the other day that about, like, he was talking about pressure. He's like, well, pressure. What pressure was to him was when people didn't know if they were going to get, what was it? Something along the lines of getting a bomb on their house in the next couple of days with the wars that may be going on.
Yeah.
And realizing what can help, also for the previous question, to put something into perspective, something that resonates with you, because you cannot just fool yourself, because this is a common thing I hear from many players. Well, just don't care about the score, or just focus on the process. But it's a little intellectual, and if you don't believe it, like, truly, it's not going to make a shift. So what is an idea you believe that has more importance, that is a bigger deal than the match, or then when the match is getting tight, whether it's a break point or whatnot, that allows you to put things into perspective, that then allow you to have a bit more of a relief and play more freely and relaxed.
Lovely. Awesome. Let's go straight to the next one. So this is a great question as well. I remember talking about this with Jorge Capistani last year. But when I play tennis, I struggle to find the best energy level to play my best. Either it's too aggressive, intense, rushed, or when I try to tone it down, my coach says I'm not using any energy. So how do I find the optimal energy level?
Yeah. Oh gosh, this is one my coaches were calling me out on in college and whatnot as well. So many times. So. You can focus on the physical to change your energy, but you always want to go down to the root cause. What is it that is causing your energy to be off? Because if you focus on a symptom level, then you're going to have short-term results. And to have a sustained level of energy or success, you always got to fix the cause. So what is it that is causing your energy to be off? What is, so for instance, if your main priority, for instance, is really to win the match, then let's say if you get up in the score and now you get more tight, well, then maybe your energy gets off as well. And then you can move a little bit more in the moment, but it's about, okay, what is my goal? Or is it potentially, are you willing to give up the need to win shorter term, to play another game, to work on yourself longer term, to make more progress? where the score becomes kind of a bonus, a secondary thing, where it will be easier also to keep the focus on the process, by focusing on your plan, what you want to work on with your mindset or your tennis like skills, that then will allow you to have a better energy.
Awesome. Very good. Yeah, and I've heard it's very individual, obviously. Let's see. So, and that was a great question there. So the next one is kind of a two-parter. So what should I mentally think in between points? A, when injured yet still able to play, a very difficult situation. And then B, when completely gassed during a match. So that's a very interesting question.
That's an interesting one. In between points when injured and still able to play. Well, yeah, first you have to make up your mind. Is it worth still to play? If yes, okay, then you're going to make the most out of it. If no, then of course you retire. But if it's a yes and okay, it's worth to continue to play, then and this is key, by the way, to be aware of your priorities, like first to make that decision, and then to allow yourself to deal with the pain. Don't try and fight it. Whatever you resist will persist. In other words, whatever you don't want, you will inevitably get more of. This is another law or fundamental, that what your mind does not want, you will get more of. So when you have decided, okay, I'm gonna play, allow yourself to have the pain, and then refocus, let's say, on your breath or something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. So ton of questions, trying to speed through here. Grace asks, she has a few questions. I picked a couple out. So how do I close out a match when ahead in a tiebreaker? Oh man, I love that one. That's a good one.
That's a common one, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not easy. And then what do I do if my doubles partner gets too emotional? So two very important, different ones here.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So to close out a match, it starts with your goal, because if the goal is really to win, of course, like it's not about not caring, but if your main priority is winning the match, then you're going to feel more tight when you get close to the end of the score. So
for sure.
Prioritizing, getting really clear what's most important for you. And like I said in the previous one, so, prioritizing the process or working on yourself. And like I said in the previous question as well, can you be allowing of yourself, could you give yourself the permission to potentially lose when you are up in the score? Because this is usually where it gets hard. When you are up in the score, like the reason why tennis players get more tight is because, then if you lose, it's worse compared to being down in the score and losing. But now if you're up, like okay, like you don't want to give it away, but that's where you have to, again, train your mind to be okay with being uncomfortable, still allow yourself to potentially lose. It doesn't mean like you're not going to try, you're still going to give it your best, but that's key. So number two, what if my double partners gets too emotional? That's a common one as well. What is it that you, what if you see that as an opportunity to practice your mindset? Again, you are aware of it, which is great. And when you're aware, now you can shift your perspective about it. If he or she is getting emotional towards you, well, it's something also just to discuss, right? Hey, I find it challenging when you get more emotional. I understand, you are trying your best, or maybe because like when you have the conversation about it and you come from a place of understanding, hey, I know you are trying, I want to enjoy myself and get the most out of this as well. What can I do? Or then you can solve that as well, not only for yourself emotionally, but maybe potentially also for the other one as well.
Cool. So awesome. Raffaele had a very similar question, so I'm skipping that, but just acknowledging that one, Raffaele. And then Catriona asks, I'd like to know how to cleanly move from a feeling of frustration or anger during a match to focusing on the next point without the emotion bubbling away underneath?
Yeah, great question. So one of the challenges I hear from people is that they think they have to be more positive, but this is it's causing many tennis players sometimes to be more negative, because if you feel the frustration or the anger come up and now you think, hey, this is not good, just like a ball that I shared with you also on the session, right? If you are trying to push a ball underwater, a basketball, let's say, or then it's going to come back. And it's not about trying to be positive about it, but about learning to feel the emotion, learning to actually allow yourself to be uncomfortable. That's key.
Awesome, Nathan. Next one here. Oops, I forgot the H. But how do I bring the relaxed and focused training I'm able to do in practice to my matches? The other day I played a match where I realized that if my racket was a person, they would be choking. And so I just want to quickly say, I mean, one thing that I think is that it seems like people are practicing very differently than how they play a match, and you want to like have your environments as close as possible. So, that's a big one that I've heard of an experience. But yeah, what else do you think about this one, Nathan?
Yeah, it's a great one. First, to see how you can to mimic situations in practice that are similar to matches. The other one is about, well, just the name itself, right? You call it a match or you call it a practice, and the meaning we associate to a match is a lot more important. Like we give it a lot more weight. And in fact, you're doing the exact same thing. When I work with tennis players, I see this often, and I just don't allow them to use the word tournament or a match, but see it all as a practice opportunity, and to work on yourself, like versus trying to get to a win, which will make you more tight and which will make you not as relaxed and not make the progress that you want. So I hope that answers your question.
So what is a best practice when you're trying to reset yourself during a match? What are some of the tactics to take after several mental errors? I'll put this on the screen in a second.
After mental errors, yeah, good point. So it's interesting because what is a mental error? We think that being negative, I guess, or choking or being hard on yourself is an error, but that is also a perspective or just an idea, right? If you see it as an error, you don't want it, and whatever you don't want, like I shared before, you're going to get more of. One of the things I teach tennis players is that it makes you human to be a bit frustrated. It's okay to choke sometimes. The best tennis players in the world choke. Novak Djokovic works on his mindset every single day, and sometimes he loses it, right? So the more you can see it as a part of being human, then it becomes easier to reset yourself.
Yeah, that's really good. Really good. Question here: how do you balance the risks of changing tactics and strategy during a match? So I think the individual is, they're thinking like, well, maybe I should change it, but then there's a risk that if I do change it, then it won't go well. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So it's important to be really clear about your goal. If you want to win this match, because maybe it's a final and you feel like, hey, I just want to win this match, it could be more helpful to change your strategy and to, let's say, that's what I did one time. I just started to loop more balls, and I knew for the longer term it wasn't going to help me to make more progress, but it was going to help me to win this match, and I ended up winning. But that was a sacrifice I was willing to make. But other times, for instance, if developing yourself is more a priority for you, then it may be worth losing the match shorter term. But having the trust and the confidence, that's key as well. Like having the faith, even though you don't see the results like yet, and being patient. Like, hey, if I stick to my game plan, which is maybe being more aggressive and taking risks, that's going to pay off long term. And this is where you have to be honest with yourself about that.
Yeah, beautiful, awesome. Let's see. We have a very good question. A couple of questions from Luna here. Do you have an example of a problem one of your clients had, and how you help this client change their mindset and the results? Also, what is important to you when working together with a client? That's a good question.
Sure, I am. Yeah, many of the questions that have come through are many questions also, from tennis players I'm working with. This is a bit of a different, how do you say it, interaction, angle? Because usually I don't give the answers, but I'm asking questions and I help tennis players to find their answers, because that's is more powerful. So I've helped just tennis players to play a lot more freely, a lot more confident in matches, move up the rankings or the USTA. I just had a tennis player who won the nationals in the 55 plus range, for instance. But it's all kinds of levels. It's just tennis players who who are willing to work on themselves. And what's important, also the second question when I work with a client, is that I want to make sure that they feel completely open and comfortable. Let me see. I want to be mindful of time as well, because I know we're running a little bit. That they feel comfortable but empowered at the same time as well. So that is key to make the changes, where they can share their challenges, and it's not like, oh, hey, this is all bad, or it's a weak thing. Not at all. Again, I have my challenges too, but then we're going to come up with an action plan, and we personalize it specifically for the tennis player that feels good, that they feel confident about. And we track the process actually as well, something that is not being done with mental training, in my opinion. So
most definitely. Cool. Thanks for the question, Luna. Let's go back to the email questions that we got. Let's see, responses. So how to push away the self-induced I like how you say self-induced pressure.
That's very honest. That's very honest.
Yeah, and just enjoy the game. And yeah, I mean, that's part of it. It's like you're the one who's creating these sorts of things, these feelings. So it's up to you. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on there, Nathan, on that one?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love the honesty, self-induced like pressure. But how to push away, again, this is some of the misconceptions sometimes. And again, there's nothing wrong with it, but just observe for yourself also with everything that I'm sharing here, to see what works and what doesn't work. After helping so many tennis players, you see just what works and what doesn't. And if you push away a feeling, it's going to come back. So learn to feel the pressure, feel where it is in your body, and without doing anything about it, just feel if it's in your arms, in your legs, and just observe it. And this is where meditation comes into play as well, being able to hold your attention on that. And when you learn that, automatically you're going to enjoy yourself more when you are present in the moment.
Awesome. Very good stuff. I've got a very nice email from Elena. I just have part of the question here, but she actually says, I follow your Tennis Files podcast and absolutely love your choice of guests and your engagement. So boom, including you, Nathan. So love that. So the question is, when I'm playing an amateur match against a pusher, I sometimes lose focus. Specifically, I get distracted by the opponent's manipulative. Oh my God, I can't speak today. Sorry, and tried a long night last night. And try to stay invisible and freeze, feeling unable to move or clearly decide on the next shot and trapped into a vicious cycle. What immediate reality check can I do to forget about and recover from the stressful situation and feel more relaxed against the pusher?
Yes. So from what I'm observing in the question is that you don't like the word manipulative. And
That's amazing.
well, that's important for yourself because again, whatever you don't want and whatever you like, first of all, right, to change is to become aware, and then to see, okay, well, why is that person manipulative? And a perspective that may help is that, well, if that person was super confident, would they try to be manipulative? Or is it maybe coming from a sense of insecurity? And maybe they are confident, but usually when people cheat as well, right? Or when they're manipulative, it's coming from an insecurity. And that's usually the truth. And the truth will set you free. Like, okay, well, how does it make you feel when that person across the net is maybe a bit insecure? That could help you then to not to try and to, again, like you could refocus, right? And that is focusing on the symptom when you get frustrated or when you lose your focus. But if you go to the root cause, you won't get distracted in the first place. So
good stuff. Thank you, Nathan. Let's see, one of our last ones here. From Charlie. Thanks for this great question. Hope you're doing well. On crucial points, I still find myself pushing for safety instead of going for my shots, and yet in practice sessions, I'm capable of hitting freely on the same shots. Any thoughts? And so for more background, because this, I'm limited by the amount of text I can put here, but Charlie from London, Tottenham fan as well, says that, he's naturally been a counterpuncher type of player, but and depending on his opponents to make the mistake. But in the past year, he's been trying to work hard to become more attacking and force them into errors. So what he wants to do is, like, during these crucial points, he wants to become that new player that he's trying to, more attacking and whatnot. But then he goes back into, the sort of counterpunching style. So he wants to change that. So any thoughts?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I'm reading the question, I'm observing an interesting word again, crucial. That's where, right, on the crucial points or on the big points, that's when the mind is being triggered. And then when you go more for a safety and you push more. So for some players, like what I shared earlier, it can be helpful to just allow yourself to miss, to practice going forward and allow yourself to be comfortable with that. And then to remind yourself, like, afterwards as well, right? Like, hey, you know what? That this is progress. This is making progress by training yourself to go for it, even though it is a crucial point. Or a crucial point. Again, that's just a perspective, an idea to question, to think, well, is it really a crucial point? Something we went into our session more deeply, like, the moment you start to question, is that point more valuable compared to another point in the game? Maybe something to question. And then, is it still a crucial point? And if it's not a crucial point, how will that make you play? Something to sit with.
Got it. So last question here that's mental game related. I'm going to kind of put in my own words and morph it, but, like, just generally speaking, like, how can you help avoid, like, emotional outbursts? So, like, people have trouble breaking their rackets or things like that. What can we do for that?
Yeah. So I acknowledge you for wanting to help your friend. It's a beautiful sign. So first of all, to help someone else, they need to be open, right? All of you who have been asking questions, you are open, which is great. And you can only just ask and be the example. That is the best way to inspire or to help someone else. You can never force anyone. If they are open, if, like, hey, you know what, I may have some suggestions. Are you open to it? And if they are, then let them come to this episode. But learn to not push away emotions, because when you throw a record or when you yell, it means that it's been building up. And when it's been building up, it means that you've been resisting unconsciously usually. That's why it's also so key to practice being conscious. Because when you learn to be conscious of your feelings and everything, then they're not going to build up. So I hope that helps.
Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the questions and the great answers as well. So I do have to go play tennis pretty soon. I was going to say unfortunately, but it's also fortunate. But I'd love to keep going, for a long time with Nathan. But, I'm sure we'll do another session. So if you want us to do another one, actually, just put in the comments. What's that word for second time? Anyway, yeah, say do it again or something. But I do want to also do the giveaway now. I think that probably would be a good time. So the question for the giveaway, and the first person that we see who answers this correctly will again win a coaching session with Nathan.
I guess you have to check on the platforms as well, because we're live on different platforms, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this will show everything like for all the platforms, but yeah, I'll double check. But so the question is, let me get it back up. I know it already, but where did Nathan play college tennis? So Nathan is also a great player in addition to, mental game expert. Where did Nathan play college tennis? So let's see if you all can get the answer here. I wonder how many people are Googling this, but yeah, let's see that.
Or if they paid attention.
Okay, here we go. So we have Lindsay and Andrew, DePaul University. Let me just double check that on YouTube. Oh shoot, I disenabled comments on YouTube to be less distracted, so now I have to look on my phone. Dang it! Can you check on YouTube too, Nathan, or you don't have it up?
I don't have it up actually. I only have this live stream up.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I will. Oh, here we go. I don't have it up actually. Okay. Yep. Yeah, Lindsay and Andrew, DePaul University. So congratulations. You're going to win a free coaching session with Nathan, and believe me, it was fantastic. So
they can
the best way to do
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. You can message Nathan on Instagram, excuse me. So yeah, do that, and would really appreciate you doing that. And then you can enjoy your free coaching session. Also, you can email me just in case for whatever reason you don't find, Nathan. But Nathan, shout out your handle again, your IG handle.
At Tennis Mindset Coach.
Got it. Awesome. Very cool. Yep. Very cool. All right. Since Richard is not pleased, I'm going to ask this non-related mental game question, but I don't know if you know the answer. Do you have any recommendations for a neurosurgeon in sports medicine?
Ooh, I don't. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, we don't really know, unfortunately. This is a mental game related stream. That's why, Richard. But okay, cool. And then Nathan, you want to let us know like any other, closing thoughts or like how people can get in touch with you or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. So they can message me and find me on Instagram at Tennis Mindset Coach. I work with tennis players worldwide online, and I have multiple programs where I take them through it to help them, first of all, become really aware how their mind works. Like, that is key if you want to change and how you are wired. I'll just go through it real quick. In phase 2, I make it really practical for tennis players, because understanding your mind is key, but you need to be able to apply it, before you step onto the court, in between the changeovers, in between points, etc. So you have a mental game plan for yourself, and you know what to do in every situation. And finally, will help you to boost your confidence to see like, hey, I can do this, and it works actually. And when you have the combination of these two, you get more momentum, and that's what the tennis players have seen, where you start to feel more free and win more, etc. That's pretty much it. Or you can go to my website as well, nathandeveer.com.
Lovely. Awesome. So I do love to leave, everyone with an action step. So Nathan, what is one action step we can do, mental performance related to
Sure.
improve our tennis game, right after this session?
One action step. To decide for yourself what was one takeaway that you got from it that resonated with you, because we've gone through a lot. And when you decide, you commit for yourself, hey, I'm going to master, for instance, meditation, the skill to go outside of my comfort zone, to feel feelings or things like that, right? Then you're going to start to see more progress. And if you have any questions about it, of course, you can message us. But it starts with a decision, a commitment really for yourself. Hey, I'm going to do this, right? I'm not going to allow myself to not do it or to make up excuses or other things. And just pick one thing that resonates for you, because I can share one thing, but everyone is different.
Right.
So yeah, go for that.
Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, congrats to Lindsay and Andrew. And thank you so much, everyone who tuned in. Really enjoyed it. And, again, just you can rewatch this anytime, as many times as you want. It's on the YouTube channel. Just go to tennisfiles.com/YouTube. Or just the link I sent, you can go to that anytime and re-listen, rewatch. And I'm definitely going to do that. Actually, on the way to my tennis practice, I'm going to listen to it. So, and yeah, try to absorb that info and make it into action taker. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming on. Thank you again, Nathan, for the great knowledge, and hope you all have a great weekend and keep improving your tennis game. See you later.
Awesome too.
Thanks. All right. I really hope that you enjoyed that interview and Q&A session with Nathan. Thanks so much for coming on again, Nathan, and a lot of great pieces of advice and answers to the questions that I hope you'll be able to take with you and apply. If you did feel like you got value from this podcast, then I would really appreciate it if you would leave a review for the show, and you can do that at tennisfiles.com/Apple Podcasts with an S at the end, or leave a review on the podcast app of choice that you use to listen to the show. We just find that Apple Podcasts does give a bit more of a boost to the show's visibility and whatnot. So that's, a little preferred, but any platform works for me. And also want to leave you with a quote, as I do at the end of every show. And this one is by Lou Holtz, a famous coach. And Lou said, "Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it." Really great quote there. And with that, really appreciate you listening. We've got a really fun and informative interview coming down the pike on brackets and strings that you'll definitely want to tune in with Jonas from Tennis Nerd. So that's going to be an exciting one. And then we've got a really fun one coming up with my good friend Peter Freeman after that. So yeah, a little ahead of the game. Hence, I know what the episodes are going to be coming up. So yeah, stay tuned for those. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast. This is your host, mehrban, signing out.